Jack, and I'm back with another episode of Man to Mike. I'm so glad that you joined us. I've got Mr. Stephen Cash. He goes by Cash. I got him here with me today. He is my tattoo artist's fiance, and he's got quite a story, I feel like. And so we're just going to sit down and kind of kick it for a little while. And so just to kind of get started, just kind of tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, my name's Cash, 32. I do personal training right now.
Gotcha.
Used to do electrical work for a little bit and was working at Denso for a while.
Gotcha. Where you work at with the personal training?
I do National Fitness right now.
Gotcha. What's your favorite part about training?
I mean,
Yeah.
there's some ups and downs with it.
Dude, I
It's
get it, for sure.
frustrating for sure. So, like, the clients that take it seriously, where you get to see the results, you get to, like, see the product of your work.
Yeah.
Is pretty satisfying. But then you have
sure.
those ones that have every excuse in the book that they don't want to do what you tell them to, and then they're mad to not see results. And it's like,
For sure. Yeah, Chris Barrier was on here, and it's, he does training and stuff too, and it's the same thing. Like, and I used to do a lot of training back in the day when I managed the gym. And it's like, just because you hire a trainer doesn't mean that it's going to change your life. Like, you have to change your life yourself.
They think it's that magic pill. Like this, everybody wants that instant gratification nowadays. They want that magic pill. They think a trainer's gonna.
Yeah. And I think part of the problem too, man, is like we live in a society that's got so many fads and stuff when it comes to diet, and everybody feels like there's all these magical ways and stuff, but it's really actually super simple. Like, calories in, calories out. Like,
they're overcomplicating it.
And then keto made everybody terrified of carbs, and carbs are so beautiful. God, I love carbs.
No, yeah, I can't survive without carbs. Like, I mean, there's a limit to it. Like, I'm not gonna eat pasta
for sure
5 meals a day, but
But when I tell somebody that I can eat 330 like carbs a day and lose a pound a week, they're like, "No, you can't." I'm like, "Yeah, I can."
It also depends on what carbs. You got simple carbs, complex carbs, so it depends on what carbs. You're eating donuts and little
I don't know,
Debbie's,
though, man. You think about it this, though. If you take a donut and you eat it by itself, it's terrible. But if you drink a protein shake with it, the glycemic index changes because you've now thrown protein in the mix and it's more balanced.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it depends on what
when
you
start
eat, how you
thinking
eat
about
it.
things and stuff, it's like, a McDonald's McDouble's a pretty rounded meal. If you get a double cheeseburger, it's too much cheese, so the fat's too high. But if you get just a McDouble with one piece of cheese, it's pretty spot on as far as nutrient balance.
Yeah, that's true. I just try to stay away from fast food.
No, agreed. I'm not encouraging it. I'm just saying, in a pinch, I've been known to grab a McDouble a time or two, maybe a junior bacon cheeseburger.
With me, it's so hard. Like, I feel guilty when I eat certain things, and like it's hard to get past that. Like, because even though, like, no matter what you look like, how you are, like, the body dysmorphia is like, it's a serious thing. And
let's talk about it, because we've not drove into body dysmorphia yet on here. So
it's rough. Like, so I heard a quote about, like, well, people look at you as like you're like 20 times attractive through other people's eyes as you are through your own eyes.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like, but when you're looking at the mirror, especially if you're like into weightlifting and bodybuilding, like, you can see every inch of fat and subcutaneous fat that you can pinch on your body that the average person are looking at you probably doesn't notice.
Yeah. No, absolutely not, dude. It's crazy because, I never liked myself, ever. I was always a chunky kid.
Me too.
Overweight in Huskies when I was in elementary school. And I was just chubby, and then got made fun of a good bit and stuff too, so never really liked myself at all, man. And even now it's crazy because I can sit there and look in the mirror. I could be shredded down and look at the mirror and be like, "Bro, you were that fat, chubby 12-year-old."
You still see that same picture. Like, it's like, I don't really talk about it much and never really have, but like middle school, like, I was a huge like gamer, and like I didn't do much. I played baseball and like kind of was drifting off from that, and I gained quite a bit of weight. And I had like a nickname in school called like Chubs. So like now it's like, even though I don't care what I look like, it's like I still picture that little boy in the mirror, and it's like anytime like I want a bowl of ice cream, knowing my macros for the days are fine and I could do it, but it's like I feel like shit after eating it. And like
Yeah, dude, I get that. And man, kids are so mean, dude. And like, I don't know. And like, it's like, even if you give somebody a nickname like that and they act like they're cool with it and they kind of go along with it, that kid goes home at the end of the day and still at some point is like,
Fucks with you.
it really does, man.
So finally, I was like, you know what? I was 15 years old. Fuck, started going to the gym.
yeah,
I cut down, like,
yeah,
slimmed up, trimmed up, and
Yeah.
like in high school it was fine, but in my
Yeah.
head it never goes away fully because it's the same kid. You grow up with the same kid, so like,
yeah. Yeah, I just started smoking weed and packing on more weight, and then just didn't think about it anymore.
that's what I did too. Like I'd go all day eating fine,
Yeah.
go to the gym, and then go to a buddy's house, smoke a blunt, and just chow down on bullshit. And like,
Yeah, no, we was baking before school, so it was just, and then I would just eat all day, I felt like. And I just didn't give a damn anymore,
I used to do the weed before school, but mix it with Adderall, so I didn't eat.
Oh, yeah, you didn't know if you wanted to get up or get down. Sometimes you got to get up to get down, though.
Oh,
maybe.
yeah. Been there plenty of times.
Yeah, I used to do that, though, in a similar way with cocaine and oxy. I would only do coke if I had an oxy to come down with. And so the last one, I would cut a fat rail of coke and then throw the whole 80 in there. And you do that, and you're like, your heart doesn't know what to do.
You're
And it's
up or
very
down,
confused.
sleep or awake.
But I'm telling you, within 30 minutes, I could go to sleep.
Yeah, that's how I went through a little stage. I was about 18. I did a lot of psychedelics. We could get into that a little later, but I did a lot of psychedelics and MDMA and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So, like, I always kept a pack of Xanax on me to come down off of. So,
Gosh, what a sick time in life, man.
oh, dude, it was rough. Like, you just think you're invincible, but you're not.
Oh, yeah, dude. So tell me kind of like a little bit what, I don't know, let's just start at the beginning, man. What was it like growing up? I mean, obviously you had a little bit of trouble there in school, maybe some body image issues and stuff, and I get that. But what was it like kind of growing up? Where'd you grow up?
So, I was born in Riverside, California, Orange
Riverside.
County.
It makes me think of Chappelle's show, Riverside.
Yeah. So right there, like right side of LA. And like I say, I'm born there because we moved here when I was 5. My
Gotcha.
dad's side of the family and everything's from here.
Yeah.
Moved
It was
to
probably a smart decision.
yeah. Like,
My wife's family did the same thing. They're from Long Beach. And so
Yeah.
they moved out here when she was like 12 because they're like, this is not going in a good place.
so like I don't remember too much about California. Moved here when I was 5 and been here ever since in Maryville. So
Gotcha.
and grew up and just I mean surprisingly like to be an addict, like I know most addicts talk about they have like a trauma childhood,
Yeah.
something's happened. Like my childhood was actually pretty great, which I'm fortunate for. Like
Yeah.
my dad was a coke addict, an alcoholic, sober for many years. And my mom did a very good job. And now that I'm older, it kind of seems like, I don't know if it was a good or bad thing that she like kept everything under the rug
Yeah.
and hid from it. So
Gotcha.
it's like we didn't get to realize the effect of it.
Yeah.
So we didn't know until I was kind of a young adult that I
Gotcha.
learned about his addiction and everything.
Gotcha.
But then looking back, you can see being an addict myself, like
Yeah.
the patterns and the things from it. So, I mean, he was a very involved father. He was very like played baseball my whole life, and he was my coach. Like he was
Yeah.
there, but
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
as you get older, you learn like he did the best he could with what he had. Because
I get that.
so other than that, I had a good childhood. Like
Brothers and sisters?
I got one brother.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Older, younger?
older.
Gotcha.
He struggles same thing, addiction.
Gotcha. So is there, but other than your dad, is there addiction that continues running in the family? Like beyond that, does he have brothers? Or
Yeah,
like, and stuff
a couple
like
of my uncles struggle with
Yeah.
the opiate addiction and alcoholics and stuff. So it's mostly on my dad's side of the family.
It's definitely hereditary, man. I say it all the time, though, but it's just the more people I talk to, the more it's just evident. Like it's genetics, man.
And you got my mom's side of the family who are damn saints. So it's like,
Yeah, yeah, a little-
definitely got the bad gene in that deal. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure, for sure. So you like to play baseball? Do you still play any? You ever do
No,
any
I
stuff?
don't. So about high school time, I kind of quit. You know, that was the smoking weed came in, the party, and that's when
Yeah.
everything kind of like
Interest
hit.
definitely shifted at that point.
Yeah, like my addiction came from a point of, so when I was younger, back to like the body dysmorphia and everything, it kind of made me become like sort of when I was younger, like a people pleaser. Like I don't talk much mostly in stuff. So it was like always afraid, like I'm going to say the wrong thing. So like just shut up and don't say it.
Oh,
So it was kind of like, and if I knew they would, it would appeal to them to say this thing, then I would talk. It was more like I was afraid to be embarrassed, like afraid to be the odd one out.
dude, I can totally relate to that 1,000%.
So like it just conformed to the people around me.
Yeah.
And so they were smoking weed, so I started smoking weed. We started partying, so I started partying.
Yeah.
And that's when like I did my first pill, which was a hydrocodone
Yeah.
when I was about 16.
Yeah.
Just because they were doing it.
It's
So
about the
like,
same.
why not? Like I want to fit in. I
Yeah.
don't want to be that loser anymore like I used to be. So I'm gonna fit in.
Yeah. So do you have like a core friend group that you had in school or anything like that? Or was you just kind of there and just friends with whoever and like just kind of drifting around? Because that was me. Like I never had just like a core group of friends or anything. I just kind of drifted around and
Yeah.
was the weird goth kid just kind of, in his bondage pants.
So like I had a few,
Yeah.
and like we were close, and I still have one very good friend that I've known since first grade.
Yeah.
And he's always been there for me, and he struggled. We were addicts together, so like we've been through it, and we try to help each other out. But like I have a couple, and then once like high school, I was talking about like trying to fit in. It's like I kind of gave away those friendships that were actually like
Good ones.
good friendships to fit in and be like one of the cool kids. You know what I mean?
Got that.
And that kind of backfires at the end, and like because high school really don't mean shit. Like
For sure. For sure. I had potential to have friends and stuff, but I was always just, I don't know, to myself. And I hadn't really thought about it until probably since I've been doing this podcast. It makes me, when I sit here and talk to other people, it makes me sit back and think about things in my own life and stuff, man. And like in high school, there was some things that was going on. And like looking back now, I don't remember ever talking to anybody at school about anything that was ever going on at home. Like, I don't remember talking to anybody about it. And I think that that's what kind of made me like a recluse and made me just want to be alone because I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to, I don't know, man. And then I started getting high pretty quick after that.
just to numb everything.
Yeah, and it's weird because like I hadn't really looked at it like that until recently. I'd always kind of made excuses and justified, oh, like childhood was fine, like it was great, like it really wasn't that bad. And then like I started unpacking the stuff, and it's like maybe I'm giving too much grace. Maybe it was a little bit.
Yeah.
Not that you have to. I don't know. Not that there's anything wrong with giving grace. I strongly encourage giving grace, but sometimes you have to just be real with yourself.
Yeah,
and be
you can't.
like, if this was fucked up, let's just talk about it for what it is, because it's the only way we ever heal from it. You have to acknowledge that, okay, maybe this aspect was fucked up and I've given it a little too much grace and I've never just dealt with it.
Yeah, and that's what it is about being a man too. I feel like we get just drilled and drilled and drilled about like, especially our generation, like our dads with their dads. It's like, suck it up. We don't cry. We don't do this. Just hold it in. Like deal with it.
Yeah.
And then like at a point where it's like, I've talked to a few people about it. It's like you hold certain shit in and you don't talk about it. And like my way of dealing with it, eventually it comes out as aggression because you hold it in so long, and it's almost like the fact it's like I'm kind of mad at myself to begin with because I held it in so long is why it comes out with aggression. But also I feel like aggression and anger is my first go-to emotion because it's the easiest. And it tries to show not being vulnerable.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's like you're still saying what you would say in a vulnerable state, but you're coming at it with anger. And it also, like, I feel like it kind of devalues what you're trying to say because the tone and the way you're coming at it.
Presentation sucks.
Yeah.
I get that's how, dude. I get terrible. Like,
Yeah.
because when stuff comes out, like with me and the wife, and I finally just come out and say it, and it's not always gentle, and it's not always.
Oh, I do the same thing.
And I have to apologize a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and because I'll catch myself doing it, but then that still ego and pride's like, no, I'm already in it now, baby.
Yeah,
We're
like,
here.
so you're going to stick with it.
And I'll do it for a few minutes until I realize I have really just gotten ridiculous at this point.
That's the thing
and
about
then I
like
shut down.
relationships and marriage, and like with a man, like you have to really learn how to put that pride and that ego to the side and just say, swallow it and be like, you know what, I messed up. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
didn't mean it this way, but like communication, like for me, and it stems a little back to when I was a child, like we never talked about anything in my household. Never.
No.
It's like kids are supposed to be seen, not heard. Like we don't talk about nothing and we don't
Yeah.
discuss nothing. We didn't have like, I never had a person where I could just go and talk to.
Oh no, dude! I never had that safe place. I never had anywhere that I felt like I could just, I don't know, say what I needed to, and or even if I said what it needed to, that it would even matter,
Right,
and
yeah.
to a degree. And because there was, I don't know, man, there was just a lot of resentments and stuff that were built around some of the outside things that were going on in my life that I wasn't holding resentments. Other people are holding resentments, and it's causing a lot of turmoil in my life. you know,
Yeah.
and it's just,
It's hard to talk. And like, there's even times now I'm like, I recognize the issue, trying to change the issue. Like with me and my fiance now, like I want to do better because I've learned from my mistakes.
yeah.
But there's times we'll be talking and like my head's spinning and like the words just will not come out. And she's like, just say what you're thinking. I'm
Yeah.
like, I literally can't
Yeah.
because I've never been able to. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be ridiculed for what might come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Because like back to what I said, like I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm
Yeah.
trying to please you and say what you want to hear at the
Yeah.
point. Like,
Yeah. So where I'm at right now is like with me and my ex-wife, like I was very people pleasing with her, and then I didn't want to have the hard conversations, and I didn't want to do that. So I would just let stuff go, bury stuff down. And like now that my wife that I have now gives me that space and that freedom to just talk and say things. The problem that I have now is from where I've not ever been able to express myself. I felt like it just out loud, and now I can. Sometimes I feel like I take it to an extreme because I have freedom to, and I've never been able to. And it's not like I'm looking to just unleash or unload or anything like that, but it's almost like that freedom. Like, I don't know, it's a whole weird thing for me. But then at the same time, she's the first one that's ever gave me that space, and to take it out on her is like
not
the
fair.
epitome of not being fair.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a struggle for me, dude. And I'm trying. I think as time goes on and just continue to adjust and adapt, it'll calm.
it'll calm down
But
and get a
it's
little less. Like
just-
I'm still working on that. Like, granted, she knows a lot more about me than most of my past relationships.
Yeah.
Like, I can actually be myself, and like,
100%.
I feel like with her, like I don't people please. Like I'm actually like authentically like myself. I can be the stupid nerd idiot person and not be judged. But like when it comes to the feeling talking aspect and like it's like, yeah, and she's always very good. Like if you feel a certain type of way, like you feel it. You can't help how to feel.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, man, I probably shouldn't feel this way. Like, I mean, like, it's
Yeah.
kind of stupid, but I do feel this way. But, like, I can't help to feel like it's a dumb reason.
That's because life experiences that we go through make us have the thought processes that we do. You can't control some of the shit that you've been through in life that
Yeah.
will cause you to have certain thought processes. You can't. And like we have to embrace that. And we have to accept it and like dance with it a little bit. I feel like, man.
I try to, but I feel like I struggle in my head daily, and usually it wins.
It's
like,
such a shitty place.
those demons, they just don't shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've gotten better about tuning them out, I think, because it's just coming through a process of learning how to love myself for where I'm at, and that's another thing with like the bodybuilding aspect. It has nothing to do with the egotistical part of like people think that it is, man, but it's just that like it has taught me to value myself.
Right.
Because when there was something about myself that I loathed and was made fun of, I took control and I invested the work. I invested in myself and I changed that. So today I'm even getting better with the body dysmorphia, and I'm even noticing it right now because right now I'm going back into a bulk. You know, that's the terrible time.
That's the worst. Yeah.
But for the first time ever, I'm in a better headspace. I don't know, and maybe it's just because I've done it like the bulking and the cutting several times now, and I know this is part of the process to get to where I want to be, and so it does make it easier that way. But it's definitely come through like trying to figure out how to love myself, and it's hard. And I've said this before too, but man, it's hard to love somebody that in your mind is the most fucked up person you've ever met. And not only that, but you were there for every fucked up thing you ever did. And that sometimes it's where it's hard to find the love and the grace for yourself.
I struggle with that a lot. I feel like I'm not good enough. Like what I do have nowadays, it's like, do I actually deserve it? Like, yeah, I put the work in and I've done it. And March 5th will be 8 years sober.
That's awesome, dude.
So it's like I put the work in, but it's like that you look back and you never forget that person you were and that shitty stuff you did to the people that love you, and even to just random people that didn't deserve what you did to them. And it's like, it's so hard to forgive yourself fully for that. It's like almost like I want to repent. Like I feel like I deserve worse because of what I've done.
Yeah. Dude, I left such a path of destruction, man, and burned so many bridges and hurt so many people that did not deserve it, man. And some people that were just trying to help me, and I just like, and that's just kind of the nature of it. But and like the perspective that I've had to take with it over the years, and is especially, now that it's just been so many years, is I done a lot of bad things. God knew I did all those bad things. He allowed me. He sustained me. He allowed me to keep living and continue doing those things. Not that he was co-signing those things, but ultimately at the end of the day, all of those things made me who I am today. And had I not been that, I would not be who I am today. And that's one reason why I'm trying to help people now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I had a friend of mine that did something really cool for me. He's a guy that's in this group. He did something really cool for me the other day. And it was something that nobody's ever done for me before. And it was just like, for all the trees you cut down, this is something like trees that are growing now.
Yeah,
and it was a beautiful thing to say, man. I appreciated it so much, dude.
That's awesome. It's like, because you'll never get over the past. But to overcome it, like you said, like it makes you the person you are today. Like I had to go through that. And I'll go through it again to be able to be where I'm at if that's what it takes. Because I mean, I might change a few things if possible, but like if I couldn't, like past is the past, and you have to be able to move from it. And I feel like that's a thing that a lot of addicts and everything struggle with. Like, because I even saw one of your podcasts, like it's like addicts have, like we have a lot of feelings, and that's the thing.
We feel more than most, I feel
and it's like we don't know how to really express it though, and it's a problem with it. Like people think we don't have like a conscience, we don't have empathy because the shit we've done. But it's like, we probably have more compassion and empathy and are most of the non-judgmental people that you could think of, because like we've seen the worst of the worst, we've done it, and the people that do come out of it are stronger. Then,
for sure.
Like, you can take on a lot now. Like,
dude, if you can kick it and roll, dude, it's so hard, man.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done.
And we've lost so many people. I'm sure you have too, man. Because you see so many of us that don't ever get it. They don't ever get
that
man.
second chance.
You know, and it's crazy, dude. So tell me a little bit about kind of where things went south for you. Like, I know it just starts off with a party, and I know that, you know, because that's how it was for me too, man. Like, it started off with weed. Around 16, I think I popped my first hydro and stuff. And then at 18 and 19, dude, it was all hallucinogenics, ecstasy. It was all party.
Yeah,
you know.
that's all
And
it
then
was.
one day the party turned south, and it wasn't a party.
Turned to the devil. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Quick.
I mean, it's a pretty long story. I'll try to
You're good, dude.
shorten it up a little bit. But so it started about like high school, just doing like every now and then we pop a pill or doing this, and like got into selling weed.
Yeah.
So I'm selling weed, doing all this, and taking pills every now and then. Nothing big, nothing major, just popping them. Didn't even snort them, nothing. And so it was right about like out of high school. I got a job at the Cheddar's in Alcoa. Just opened up, part of the opening crew.
Terrible place to start working. Parents, if you have children that are starting to work, the restaurant environment, if it's a restaurant with a bar, it's probably not the most kosher environment because it gets wild in there.
That's how it was. So like I met one guy, he was old, like I was 18. This dude was like 28. And I would sell him weed and stuff. And like every now and again, he'd like want some Xanaxes, which like I knew where to find. So I get him some Xanaxes, and we chill, hang out, smoke, and pop a Xanax. Something.
Yeah.
And it starts there. One of the line cooks had Roxy's.
Oh,
and
of
stuff.
course he did.
Yes. So this was back 2010.
Oh,
Like it was easy to get anything back then. People going to Florida and picking up scripts, sponsoring and stuff. So it was like $20. He's like, he even had a plate in the freaking bathroom up top, snorted up right there. So here and there, doing that. Stopped for a while. And that's when I got into the psychedelics and the MDMA and like going to shows, festivals, all that. It just took off.
Era,
Yeah, bro.
There was nothing like the dubstep era.
It took off quick. I went to Nashville at Base Nectar my first time and did acid and Molly the same time for the first time in one night, and it was over after that. So that same guy
What
used
is that, hippie flipping when you do that?
candy flipping. Yeah. So we, that same guy at Cheddar's used to sell weed to and get Xanaxes for. We went to a show together, and he was like, my cousin's in from California, and he wants to come to the show. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I'll buy the ticket. Like, just pay me back.
Yeah.
Because he ain't here. So we went to the show. After the show, a little ritual at my buddy's house, smoking, passing around bowls. Well, this dude whips out, like, back then, like around here, I don't know if you know, like good weed was around, but like this shit was good.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
He pulls it out and starts packing a bowl with it. And me being me, the hustler back then, I was like, hey man, like what do you get? Like how much you want for an ounce? He was like, I don't know, like 200. Back then I was like, give me 3.
Yeah, let me get a bunch of them.
Yeah, give me 3. He was like, all right, cool. He's like, I'm trying to get rid of it before I got to go back to Cali because I don't want to drive with it. So, like, at that price, like, I cut everybody's heads.
Right.
So, just start selling that.
One nugget, $20.
Yeah, right. No, it was like, back then, 8s were like $60.
Oh, I know. I remember. Yeah.
So, I was giving it to people for $35.
Oh, yeah.
Just cutting heads. So, sold them 3 ounces and probably the next day, like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Came back to him, $1/4 pound. He was like, all right. Came back 2 hours later. You got any more? He's like, kind of looked at me. He's like, all right. He's like, give me like 2 days. Fronted me 2 pounds. Sold that in a day and a half. So it just started going. So he ended up getting an apartment here. I was making him so much money, got an apartment here. And we were getting 10 pounds shipped a week from California, making bank. So that's where like the money grew. And I was just kind of hustling, popping pills here and there, whenever, like tripping. So then my buddy from high school hits me up. He was like, man, as he knew I was making money, because he would buy weed from me. So he was like, back pain. Back then, you could go to the doctor for back pain.
Oh, for sure.
They were prescribing him 180 Roxy 30s and 90 Xanax bars.
Yeah. And then they'd sprinkle in some Somas, some Stumble biscuits in there too.
He needed a sponsor.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, whatever. Well, I didn't do him like that then, but he was. So sponsor, he gave me half everything. So it's 90 Roxy's, 45 Xanax bars. So I just looked at it as another hustle. I maybe kept 4 or 5 of each and pop them.
Yeah.
Every month that stack got more and more, more and more, more and more, popping them. And then I started snorting them. I was hanging out with him. I was like, "Fuck, let's see how fucked up we can get." I was like, "I'll snort 2 right now." Just done that. And that's just what started everything. So then it was like, I was keeping them all. Just making them last, you know? And then it got to the point he got out of the doctor. So then it's like, well, shit, where do I get my supply from? So then it's buying them off the street for way more than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So what happens, my weed dealer, he sends a package one time to these addresses I had, and it came up empty. And he was like, I swore we sent it. So that got some heads turning, and we were like, okay, like waited a little bit. We sent one more, we got it, and I sold that. Came to find out he was struggling with addiction, doing Roxy's. So that net gets cut.
It's bad when your supplier gets a habit. It's not ever good.
So there goes my buddy from the doctor. That goes him with my money support. So then I'm just left, like I had plenty of money from that, but the leftover money, that's all it went to. It was just pills.
Yep.
Pills. Like,
It'll go quick.
Oh, very quick.
Real quick.
So then it just gets to the point where I'm broke. And what does an addict do when they're broke?
Oh, yeah. I support a $72,000 a year habit and didn't work a job.
Yeah, I didn't have a job. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Steal shit.
That's it.
So I started stealing just from the people closest to you.
It's who every addict robs from first, his family.
Yeah, whoever's around first.
Yep.
And there's one thing that I really regret and which resonates with me to this day. So when I was 17, what kind of started this whole thing about doing drugs, my grandfather passed away with stomach cancer. And he was like the rock to our family, like my hero, like an amazing man.
Mom or dad's side?
My mom's side.
Gotcha.
So he passed away. And like not even thinking, like when you're dope sick, like I'm gonna get high.
No conscience.
And I don't care what I have to do, who I have to hurt in the process, because I'm not going sick.
Yep. We'll deal with consequences when they show up.
Yeah. We'll ask for forgiveness instead of permission, you know what I mean?
Always.
So I would steal all kinds of stuff. And I'll tell you, like, because this will lead to the next story. There was this jewelry store in Alcoa called Malone's Jewelry Store. And this dude, like, didn't ID you, give you pennies on the dollar compared to what a place would, but no ID, no paper trail.
Yeah.
So we'd steal all kinds of jewelry and take it to him.
That was my hustle, too.
Yeah, it was the easiest
so funny,
thing.
Dude. It was, dude.
Well, I found these 3, like, how I describe them, because, like, my grandfather loved jewelry and, like, gold. But he had these big old rings that almost looked like class rings, but they were all gold with, like, rubies and stuff in it. Found 3 of these. I mean, I got quite a bit for them because they were big. But still, it was, like, pennies on the dollar of what they were probably worth. And nobody noticed. And like a year or so goes by, and this was one of the, I still think about this today, like one of the hardest things that hit me. My mom was like crying.
Yeah.
She called me. She knew I stole them. She knew. And she was like, you know those rings? And I tried to deny it. She was just like, shut the fuck up. Like, I know you, just listen.
Yeah.
Those are your grandfather's. And a week before he passed away, he was like, I want them to go to my 3 grandsons, which is me, my brother, and my cousin, to have. And I pawned them bitches for pennies on the dollar. Like that shit, like when you're in addiction, like just clouded. And that like took me out of that clouded space for just a minute, not long enough to like get right, but like I felt horrible about myself, and like for a couple months while I was using then, like I didn't care if I woke up or not. Like I was like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, you can call me whatever. Like I'm sure I've called myself worse. Like,
for sure. For sure. But dude, I did the same thing to my papa, and I pawned his Masonic ring. And I always felt terrible about doing that, man. And he always gave me so much grace. Even once he found out, man, he always just showed me so much grace. And
oh yeah,
gosh, dude, but yeah, I felt terrible for that.
I still feel terrible.
Oh yeah, I pawned my mom's first wedding ring, and yeah, dude, you do go to the places that you know they love you the most first because
they're going to forgive you.
You're going to get the most grace, man. Yeah. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the nature of addiction. I mean, it sucks.
I started finally getting a job and like went to this tile guy who did tile and stuff. So like,
he was doing some heavy dope, wasn't he?
Oh, that's how I met him.
Guy.
That was how I met him. So like we were sitting there getting high and stuff. So he had this big old job. These people were redoing their whole house up in like Farragut. Yeah. Like I'm talking about $multi-million home. Mm-hmm. And like he's sitting there doing the floor in the bathroom. He's like, well, I'm gonna distract him and like I'll let you know if somebody could. Like he sent me in there, like stole all kinds of jewelry and shit from them, and like you're an addict mindset. Like I don't care how much money you have, like it's fucked up. But like in my mindset, then I'm like, they ain't gonna miss it. They got plenty of money.
Had
like,
that mindset too.
I'm trying to get high. This is more important because I'm entitled because I'm an addict. So,
dude, we're terrible with entitlement, bro. Yeah, I've never met an addict that's not just entitled as hell.
Yeah, like I come first. I don't care who you are. Like, so it's this big spiral of just stealing and screwing over every family member I have, and the fact like now I'm sober, like. To build back those relationships is not tough because you have to like really own your shit and be honest and you might not get their forgiveness, but it's a gamble and it's a chance you're taking to like.
Those take some time to build for sure. For sure. Took me a while, but.
Then they won't even trust you anymore at their house. It's like, I don't want them here. But it's like in your head, like, again, you might be 2 years sober, but you're entitled still because you're like, well, I've been doing this good for how long? Like, fuck you. Why won't you let me come?
Yeah.
It's like, because you fucked up. Like,
oh, man. So what about this jewelry store? I feel like you were going somewhere else for that jewelry store.
Yeah. So it was, remember that it was October 23rd, 2013. Super bad in my addiction, like years into it. One thing I will say about my addiction, which probably keeps me different from the rest, is I never shot up.
Ooh.
Never went to the needle.
Because it's game-changing, bud.
Which I've done worse shit, though, than I know people have done on the needle. So, if I got on that needle, I probably would still be using right now. Like,
I wouldn't still be alive, that's for sure. I didn't have much longer to live at that point. I mean, I was like really knocking on a door and it wasn't heaven's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like devil's coming for you quick.
Yeah.
I have plenty of friends that did, like that one guy I was getting the pills from, I walked into the room after I got his script one time and watching our buddy shoot him up for the first time. And I was pissed. I walked out. I bought my pills, but I walked out after that and was gone. But never could do that. But the jewelry store, so it was October 23rd, 2013. Dope sick. Like, bills are due. Like, apartment, like, about to lose everything. Like, me and my buddy and my ex at the time are driving around. And I'm thinking about, like, how ways to get money. Like, I was desperate. So I was thinking about Tim Malone's jewelry store. I've been in there thousands of times, so I know exactly where his bag of money is. Like, it's right around the counter. He's in a wheelchair. What the fuck he gonna do, right? So, talked my buddy into fucking robbing him.
Yeah.
So, he went in there first. Long story short, he goes in there first. And I try to, like, I was like, when you go in there, at the back corner were like rings and stuff. I knew everything in the shop. Like, bring him over there away from where I'm going to be and distract him. So, excuse me, he does that. And, like, dude, that was the longest, like, 2 minutes of my life when he went in there. Like, I have my mask on right outside. I'm pacing back and forth. Like, should I do it? Should it? And I'm, like, in a battle with myself. Like, can I do this? Like, should I do this? Should I do this? And, like, I just remember a moment where, like, I blacked everything out. And I was like, fuck it. I just ran in there, jumped over the counter, grabbed that bag of money. And, like, as I'm jumping back over, everything just goes black. And I come back to, and I try to step on my left leg because my right foot was down. I tried to step my left leg, and I collapse. So I'm laying there trying to realize what's going on. I come back to, and I kind of just, like, scoop myself up against the wall, and I see him just, like, gun pointed at me. He was like, you move again, I'll shoot you again. So I ripped my mask off, and I was like, hey, Malone, like, you know me, like, it's me. Sorry, like, apologize. Like, I'm sorry, like, I'm not, threw the bag of money over to him. I was like, I ain't going nowhere. So, like, I'm in shock.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't know what happened, but I hear the words he says, like, I'll shoot you again. So I was like, well, I've been shot. So I start looking. There's a hole in my shirt, and I peel my shirt up, and there's a big old hole right here. And I'm just putting pressure. It's like, see the movies and all that stuff. Like, put pressure. And I'm like, okay. So I'm putting pressure, and then a couple seconds go by, and, like, I realize there's a pool of blood just coming out of my leg here. So what the doctors told me is it hit my femoral artery because I was like this. It hit me in the hip. Hit my femoral artery, hit my sciatic nerve, hit my pelvis, shattered my pelvis, ricocheted, and went through all my guts and came out my side.
Gosh. What did he shoot you with?
A 9.
Yeah.
But
damn.
it was from, like, 10 feet away.
Yeah,
So
pretty
it was
close.
pretty, yeah. So I'm sitting there and just like, 911's been called. I know, like, I don't know if I'm gonna live or die. Like, you see the movies and stuff. Like, ain't there, like, everybody's like, oh, it must hurt so much. Like, I didn't feel a fucking thing.
Yeah.
I was in shock.
Yeah.
Cops show up first.
How long until you started realizing, like, or feeling it, you think?
It's probably in the ambulance. So the cops came and they kicked me over, handcuffed me. Luckily, like, I'm on my stomach. There's blood everywhere. Luckily, like, the paramedics come soon after the cops, and they see it, and they're like, and unhandcuff him right fucking.
Spinal damage. You probably shouldn't have moved. You know what I mean?
They were like, unhandcuff him right now.
Yeah.
He's coming with us. And, like, I was awake all the way till UT hospital. So I'm sitting there, and, like, at first I'm freaking out. I'm just trying to, like, in survival mode, like, just trying to figure out what I can do. And I get in the stretcher, get in the ambulance, and we start going. And I don't think they realized, like, how bad it was because, like, I have a good sense of direction. I knew where we were at, and we took a left going towards, like, that Kroger in Alcoa, like, going up towards, like, Alcoa Highway. And they're just cruising. And, like, we maybe got kind of near where I think at least, like, near Texas Roadhouse Airport area. And they finally kicked their lights on and fucking started going. But, like, I know they say, like, your life passes before your eyes when you're like, I didn't have none. Like, only thing I could think of was my mom and dad.
Yeah.
And, like, I was just saying sorry, like, so many times in my head, almost to the point where I was like, I hope they, like, can hear me in a way. Like, cause, like, I felt getting cold. Like, I was dying. Like, and this is how I go out, robbing a jewelry store. That's going to be my story is how I go out. And, like, just thinking that the whole way, like, just, I'm sorry. Like, I'm an idiot. Went to the hospital, changed my bed to, like, one of their beds. All I remember is I got stuck with something, passed out.
Yeah.
Woke up 3 days later, and so the point when I woke up, it's rough to talk about because, like, my we'll get there, but my dad's passed away now, and I'm sitting there, and, like, all I hear the doctors were like, on the count of 3, I need you to cough. So, like, I mean, the weakest cough you could possibly imagine, like, and they took the ventilator, like, the tube out of my throat. I'm, like, blinking, like, looking, and I see my dad talking to the surgeon, and, like, I'm weak as fuck. Like, I'm just waving him in there. So he comes in there, like, gives me a hug, and, like, all I could say was, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he was like, shut up. He was like, we ain't worried about that right now. Like, we got bigger problems.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a rough experience. You had to learn how to walk again. I still have nerve damage from it. I had a colostomy bag for 6 months.
Gosh, dude, that's rough. So what was, like, your overall recovery time kind of like?
A little over a year.
Wow, dude.
So,
And what year was that?
2013.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy, man. That is wild.
So I, like, I ended up getting staph infection in the hospital, almost dying from that too. Like, learn how to walk again because they didn't think I'd be able to use my left leg anymore.
Yeah.
Which luckily, like...
Yeah, for sure. So what ended up happening with, like, charges and stuff like that?
So the detective was a crazy story too. He told me, like, he was actually, like, really good. Like, I knew, like, I'm caught. Like, ain't no getting out of it. So I'm gonna tell the truth. Nothing but
I was
the truth.
always like that. I never even tried to lie, dude. It was just like, you knew you were done.
There ain't no way I'm getting out of this. So he said he came in the day after my first. I had 2 major surgeries. One was 14 hours. One was 12 hours long. And the first one, they cut me open. I have a scar all the way down there. So he said he came in to just kind of see if I was awake, and, like, I guess they had a tent over my stomach with me kept open because they had to go back in.
Yeah.
And he was like, out of all, like, the 20-something years I've been a detective, he was like, that was the nastiest thing I've ever seen. And, like, I was just trying to, like, with me being an addict and stuff, like, I use, like, humor as a part to, like, cope.
Yeah,
so,
because
like,
we got a dark sense of humor, man. Every addict has it. That's why addicts need each other, dude.
Yeah, I was like, well, at least I could help you out with something. There's a milestone you got now. But, yeah, it took me, I was in the hospital for about a month. Went home, had a hospital bed at home. Just had to keep doing, like, which them knowing, like, I was an addict and stuff, I feel like I didn't get no physical therapy. Like, I didn't get no special treatment or nothing. But thank God to James Gooden, the surgeon. Like, I'll never forget his name. Like, he saved my life, and he waived all his fees.
Oh, man.
He did. Like, when my daughter was born at UT, I went back and, like, saw him and, like, thanked him and, like, showed him how good I was doing. So, like, that dude, he's a really good man. So,
that's
like,
awesome, dude.
But yeah, got 6 months later, got my colostomy bag out. And then it was around, like, April, I got it out. And, like, May, like, I was still using, like, I didn't quit. Like, I was just, they were prescribing me shit.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, me and my ex, it was on, like, Memorial Day week, or whatever's in May. Memorial Day, Memorial Day, I think.
Yeah, I think it's right.
We were driving around smoking. I took a couple, like, Xanaxes and stuff, and we were accidentally just drove through a roadblock. I have no license at this point. So we pull up, and they knew who I was from the news and all that stuff. And I was like, look, man, they knew I was going to jail anyways. Eventually, they were like, just get a ride. Like, we'll write you a citation. You're good.
Yeah.
So it was 9 months after I got shot. I went to court for that, and they locked me up.
Yeah.
Brought me in there. So I went first to fight the road DUI or whatever it was, driving on suspended.
Yeah.
Which that got canceled out. So they brought me up to the circuit court for felony charges, and they gave me a Class C robbery charge. They were trying to give me 5 years, and we fought it down to, I got the minimum of 3 years. So from that day, in like, I think it was like June or July when I got locked up, I was in there for 27 months, flattened a 3-year sentence.
In Blount County?
Yeah, mostly. I went to Bledsoe for about like a month and a half for classification, and then got paroled out. So
Blount County, that long, bro. So whenever I was in Blount County, I only went one time, and that was in 2012. It would have been in 2012 that I was in there. But I had a cellmate. I had 2 cellmates out because I was in D6.
Yeah, that's the whole.
Yeah. And which in Blount County, it was the place to be, in my
23
opinion.
and 1.
It's 23 and 1, but like you got 2 cellmates. Yes, it's cramped, but you always have somebody to talk to. You don't have to fight over the phone. Like you don't have to fight over the shower. Like I don't know, it's really kind of the ticket, honestly. Like it's nothing like the hole in Knox County. Like,
No, yeah, no.
But the hole in Blount County, like I don't know, it wasn't that bad.
I was in CPOD at first because I got put in on a misdemeanor. And then before I got classified and like my sentence, I was in CPOD, and I got caught with some tobacco. Got sent to DPOD for like a week.
Yeah.
Got brought back. And funny story is though, it's just fucked up. I was in NA class. Came out of NA class, and this dude I know from the streets got put in there, which a mutual friend knew both of us. He's like, "Hey man, this dude Rocky's in here. Like he's got hydros, Percocets, weed, all kinds of shit." Like, all right, let's get down. Like, so, and he just gave it to us for free. We snorted a few pills, smoked a joint.
Yeah.
And I guess some dude got mad and told, and I don't know how this little dude knew everybody's name. They brought in 21 people from CPOD to medical, drug tested. Failed that shit.
Oh, yeah. They come in there and raid the place.
Yeah.
Where they come in through the side doors, turn off all the toilets.
Fucked. I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
Went to the hole. And I was in like D5, I think. It was supposed to be 30 days. I was in there 91 days, and I was by myself most of the time in my cell. I was fucking...
Yeah.
Finally, this dude came from the feds to come back to court for an appeal or something. And I guess it was a little too full, so they put him in my cell. And you would tell me and him were best friends. Like, you thought we knew each other from the streets.
Yeah. So the cellmates that I had up there, I had one that had his name was Tracy, and he had a capital murder. And he had been up there for 3 years waiting, like still just going through court. And there was a dude up there also, Kenny, that had been there for 10 years.
Is it that one, the big old white dude that was in there for murder?
Look, no, it was Oxycontin. He was like one of the first ones up there to get really hemmed up over Oxy, but he like begged him to stay there and not send him to prison. He did a 10 in there.
Dude, that's rough.
Oh, no, it ain't. Because when I got there, so I'm sitting in there.
Depends where he was at.
Yeah. No, he was wherever he wanted to be.
Okay, he
including taking the van down to Hardee's and getting. I'm watching him out the window. And then when he got out, they finally let him out. He went back, got a maintenance job.
Really?
Yep.
There was one guy I met when I was still back in the C pod, the open pod. So like, you have like C7 right there. Like that's like solitary confinement. Like you by yourself all the time. There was some dude that was in there. Like, I don't know if anybody knows the story or not. And like, I don't know if I was told correctly or not too, but like apparently like he'd been in there for like 4 or 5 years fighting court just in solitary the whole time. And apparently, like, it was like right off Alcoa Highway. He tied his wife to a chair and burned the house on fire and, like, killed her in it. So, like, I remember that dude being in there and, like, he just looked crazy.
Yeah, some people just have a look about them, you just can't trust.
The stories and stuff in there, man. There was one guy that was he slit his wrist and he was in there for 90 days for child support. Couldn't do it. Slit his wrist.
Yeah, but how many times had they rolled him back in there? How many 90 days had that guy done? Because I can almost see that becoming such a hopeless thing. Man, I watch so many dudes get out, and then like they only give you a short amount of time, and sometimes it's hard to get your shit back.
It's like, how am I going to get a job and get a paycheck in this 30 days that you want me to pay you $1,500?
Yeah, it's crazy, and then they just roll you right back in, dude. I watched it happen, dude. I felt so bad for some dudes. Like, yeah, to a degree, sometimes you just get yourself in a fucked up situation. But then even if you want to fix it, and that's why a lot of people just keep getting high. I mean, I've talked about that quite a bit. Like for me, like that. Our justice system's so screwed up that I earned all my stuff. I did all that, but they set you up for failure in so many ways, dude. And like stuff just stacks up, and you just feel like fuck it. I'm just gonna keep getting high.
Yeah, that's why.
In a rebellious way now, because the hell with y'all.
Yeah, fuck you. That's why I feel like I kind of got lucky. That they didn't give me the option of like state probation. They didn't give me option like county corrections and all that stuff. Yeah. Like they made me flatten, and like it sucked, but like I feel like I got lucky in a way because those 3 years could have ended up on the streets, causing me 6-7 years to finish if I kept fucking up, and like gave me a lot of time to think. And which, granted, I got out after 27 months, and within a month and a half, I started. Heroin was a thing then.
Oh, yeah.
So, started, because my ex-wife at the time, while I was locked up, like, God knows what she did. Like, I know maybe half of it, but not even.
But she was off to the races.
So she got hooked then. So I came out, and she tried to act like she was clean for as long as she could. And then found out, and like one of my buddies I got really close to is like really big with the GDs in there and stuff. Gotcha. And like he came out a week after me. Mm-hmm. So like, and he went straight back to hustling. Mm-hmm. So I hit him up first thing. I was like, hey man, you front me $1,000, like I'll sell it and get it back. Because even then I wasn't even getting high, but it was to get her high for free because I ain't paying for it.
Right.
So it was just that hustler's mentality. Like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to hustle it so I can get high for free. Same. So did that, and then slowly, you can imagine, started using it, getting high. And that was the worst I've ever got because, like, I was a gram a day.
Oh, See, I was fortunate with the heroin. Like, I say I'm a heroin addict, but that's just kind of where it ended. Yeah, like, for most of my addiction was oxys and roxys, no panas. And then, like, heroin was only really, like, the last year because it didn't even show up down here until, like, 2011. It was about the time that Florida was shutting down and then Michigan opened up. Yeah. It was
when it started really flooding. I think it was around like when I got out in like 2016.
Yeah.
And like it was everywhere then.
Yeah, it was just starting to show up down here when I would say that like the people that I was getting my oxys from, they were up in right above Oak Ridge, Oliver Springs. And I was going up there, and they ended up making a connection with one of the Detroit boys. And so they would go pick him up at the Greyhound, and he would just stay in their back bedroom for 2 weeks at a time. He'd bring a duffel bag. He'd already have it prepackaged up in lottery tickets. And, like, I'd go over there, and she'd be like, I'm out. Let me go back here to the back bedroom real quick and buy some more.
Yeah. And I never did the OC80s. Like, that was before my time, I think, when I got on it.
Oh, dude, those were wicked. And that, so like I said, for my addiction, the oxys, they had me for about the first 2 or 3 years, I guess, and then they phased those out, and the Roxys were there, and then right at the end, the Opanas were starting to make a pretty big deal
until they started gelling them out.
Yeah, but we figured out within 24 hours how to still cook them down and shoot them up.
Yeah,
and so in those, I was grateful because whenever the Opanas were out, it was probably within a month or two that I went to jail for the last time and got like sober. And so I was grateful because those, for me, they were more wicked than the heroin was.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And But yeah, and I remember that challenge that was accepted whenever they were like, "You can't cook these." Yeah, all right, okie dokie.
I'll show you.
We did.
So how long have you been clean now?
Oh, it's like 13 years. I mean, off of like the heroin and stuff. I mean, I still have a drinking stuff from time to time, but like,
Yeah, but like that's how I feel too. Like I've been like, so March will be like 8 years, and like,
Yeah.
so I quit everything. Like I used to smoke too, and I don't smoke anymore, but I quit everything for 4 years.
yeah,
And like slowly started like drinking a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
And like now I feel like most addicts, I get it. They can't have nothing.
Yeah.
But like I feel like I got to control. Like there's sometimes I might drink a little too much,
yeah.
but I don't ever think of using
Yeah.
again. Like I feel like I got a good control over it, which is maybe not the best thing to like tell addicts to do.
Yeah, no, I'm not encouraging. Don't live your life after me. Like you got to figure out what works for you. At the end
Yeah,
of the
everybody's
day.
different.
I really do feel that way. And you know, for the first, probably about the first 7 or 8 years, I guess it was probably about the first 8 years. I was like sober,
Yeah.
like stone cold, took it real serious and stuff, and used to talk about sobriety a lot. And honestly, once I started having drinks and stuff like that, I kind of quit talking about it just because I didn't feel right about
Yeah.
it anymore. But now at the same time on this platform and stuff, it's just like I need to be talking about it because it's so relative to me and a lot of other people and stuff, and me just being able to be real about it. And that's part of the problem too. I just didn't feel like I could be real with it. You know, I don't know. I feel like so many people were looking at me, and I just want to let people
maybe
down.
he's not really sober because he does this,
you
and
know,
that,
and
but
it just
like,
seemed like it was going to open up just a bunch of can of worms. I'm at a spot now where I just don't give a damn.
dude, if I feel like if I'm not stealing and using fucking heroin and dope,
Yeah.
like to me that's sober.
Yeah,
Like I drink responsibly, and I'm like I have a handle on it, which I get a lot of people can't. Like my brother's one of them. Like he still struggles for addiction. Like it's hard for him to be around alcohol because
Yeah.
when he gets drunk, he wants to get high. But he's
Yeah.
also freshly. So I gave myself a long time.
That was me when I first got sober, and it was one of the reasons why I never thought that I could have a drink or anything was just because back in the day, it's how it was. One shot or one beer, I just want to dope.
Really?
Like, screw this. Because I never, back then, I never really liked alcohol even. Like,
Yeah.
I rarely even drank anything. I was too busy chasing pills to even think about it. Because if I'm drunk, I can't go do what I need to do to get pills.
Yeah,
I can't go
I never
hustle.
drank when I was on pill. There ain't you're not gonna fuck my buzz up.
No.
I paid good money for this
I
buzz.
pay, yeah, or somebody else paid good money for it.
Yeah, I stole a lot to get this. But
Yeah.
it's just wild because like there's a lot of people I know that can't, and like there's a lot of people I know that can, and they can
Yeah.
handle their stuff well. I mean, it depends on the person, and like you have to like really dig deep and
Yeah.
like learn your limits and what you can and cannot do.
Yeah, and I think also people just need to be real about what's going on in their life in general. That's not even about addiction and stuff, like because I know there's a lot of people out there that claim total sobriety, but like they still dabble in some other things, and it's just like. Just be real.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way anybody can ever hold each other really accountable for anything is if we can just be real. And if we're trying to build a community, especially like with this, man, trying to build a community of men, like, we have to just be able to be honest and be real and be like, you know what, might be fucked up, but this is how I do life.
Yeah.
You know? And then it's amazing at how many other people will start speaking out and stepping up and saying,
They'll be
"You know
hiding
what?
something and they feel like it's not
Dude,
okay to talk
secrets
about
keep
it.
us sick, though.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing, man. Like, we got to get that stuff out. We just got to be able to be real and talk about stuff.
I'm sorry.
man.
Like most people, like everybody has a crutch. Everybody has something they fall onto, like whether they believe it or not. Like some people even can use like video games, TVs, even religion at a point for a different type of an addiction.
For sure.
Like
100%, dude.
you have to like have something to fall back on because let's be real, like, life is hard.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be easy, and it's just going to get harder and harder.
Yeah.
So, especially when you put kids in the mix and
Oh,
everything,
yeah,
like
man.
that dad guilt,
Yeah.
like that shit's real.
So how many do you have? Do
I
you
have
any?
two,
You have two,
and
and CJ
then-
has two.
Yeah, so we got
how has
four.
that been, like, blending together and stuff, man? Because obviously we're doing quite the blend.
Yeah.
also.
So, like, I mean, I feel like it's going great.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's some ups and downs, some like certain things that get overwhelming at times because also like she's used to before she met me, so like she's used to having a week off. And like I'll talk about here in a minute, but like I have full custody of my 2 kids. So like there's never a time off. Like we always at least have my 2. And like what comes to the fact is like almost like a guilt with me, as I feel like, because like she sees my kids more than she sees her own. So it's like, and that's not fair. And like, and she's really like stepped up and like, taking on that stepmom role.
That's awesome.
More than I ever even thought anybody could. And like,
I love that,
dude. I'm blessed beyond like having her like before all that shit, like everything going on. Like there's a point, like, you know, I just said fuck it. Like I haven't got into the point like of my divorce and like with my dad passing away. Like it all happened within 2 weeks of each other.
Oh wow!
So like at that point, like
what year was this?
2020.
Gotcha.
So we were just not doing good. We knew we didn't. The only reason we even stayed that long was because she ended up getting pregnant with my son. That was a surprise. And like, so we split up when he was like 5 months old.
Yeah.
And, but I remember like she was still living with, like in the house, and we were split up, about to get a divorce and everything. So I'm at work at Denso, and I get a call from my cousin. It was like, your dad passed away. He had really bad diabetes, and he ended up getting on drugs and just not taking care of himself. And
God, that happens a lot.
he went to the bathroom late at night, and I guess on his way back from the bathroom, he just passed out. Died on the floor. And his mom, my grandma, found him the next morning, and then I just remember, like, look, you don't got to like me. You ain't got, but, like, we had a lot of years together and stuff. So, like, I called her leaving work and was like, she was already messing around with some other dude and all this stuff. So, like, I called her and I was like, my dad just died. Man, you believe the words out of her mouth was like, well, you know, this don't change anything, right?
Yeah.
I walked in my house. She's getting her and the kids ready to drop the kids off to her mama so she could go hang out with that dude. And I'm just bawling. I just locked myself in the bathroom and just let it out, lost it. Like,
that's tough.
So at that point, it's like, fuck you. Like,
yeah, for sure, dude. For sure. Oh, dude, that's
so
terrible,
I just became numb. Like I turned off. There's a point in my life where I turned off every single emotion, and I like.
Especially when you got that many years with somebody and they still can't even just. God,
like we were like roommates at that time too, but it's still like
you're still invested with. It's like if you spend enough time with a cellmate in prison, when you're separated from that dude, you still think about him from time to time.
I hope he's doing all right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I still talk to some people I was locked up with and stuff, and do good. Like and they're doing great, and like we're not like best friends, but we keep tabs and like make sure. But like,
it's such a cool thing when you see other dudes that you was in jail with doing awesome. Yeah. There's a couple of them I need to have on here. I've reached out to a couple of them, man, just to be able to reflect. Since we was in the same place together, you know what I mean? At the same time, I got to get that. Alex, I got to have you on here, Bubba.
Yeah, there's one that he's locked up now, but he was a really good friend of mine too, and I knew him from way back. Like grew up together and saw him in there, and it was funny because there's a funny story. Like I had no tattoos or anything then, and it's like my cellie, we were just bored.
Yeah.
And he had somebody draw some shit on some like wax paper. We made a stencil out of it. And he was like, "Will you tattoo this on my arm?"
Yeah.
Pick and poke. I was like,
Blount County special, baby.
I was like,
Use a nail out of a battery, a little styrofoam. I think some shampoo, maybe.
I was like, fuck it. I mean, I will.
I remember my cellmate had built a whole chimney out of styrofoam trays to burn styrofoam in to make
used
the ink.
I can't remember what it was called. It was like this blue gel stuff that you could burn that like black people would use for like their hair and shit like that. It would make that soot, and you would use that. And I'm like picking, poking him. I said it took 13 hours.
Yeah,
but it actually looks really good. So then he came
I got staph because my cellmate had staph and we didn't know at the time, so I ended up getting staph from it too.
It was crazy, man. Then he came along and he was a couple cells down. So he would sneak in our cell at like church night when they would like let you out your cell and they would do church.
Oh,
he would
yeah,
sneak
you
in
gotta go
over
find
here.
the Lord while he's in there.
I did that little, he had like a little nautical star right here
Yeah.
by his collarbone. That looked good.
Yeah.
But like I didn't have any tattoos and like, I don't know how it feels. I'm just giving it to you.
Yeah.
And he's over there just like screaming. I was like, dude, quit being a bitch. Like, they're going to hear us. And he was like, this shit hurts, bro. I was like,
Yeah, I mean, it does hurt. I mean, it's
especially pick and poke is different. Like,
it is, dude. I mean, I think it even took me like an hour just to pick that one because I did that one myself. He just kind of showed me how, but
just some wild stuff. Like, there's crazy. Like, sometimes, like, months will be slow. Like, you get in your head for months, and it's just slow. And then some months will just fly by. Like, talk
yeah.
about being good at spades.
Oh, bro, we had to get on some spades. I was playing spades on the plane yesterday, dude.
Spades and some bones, play some dominoes.
Bro, I taught my 11-year-old how to play spades, and he can throw them pretty good, dude.
Yeah, I taught Theo how to play.
He'll be in there running nils sometimes. I'm like, you got this? He's like, I got this. I'm like,
oh, y'all play the nils with you?
oh, yeah. Dude. I want to teach him all of it. I want to teach him about running a Boston and everything, man.
We taught Theo how to play, and like he loves it.
Me, Uzi, and Theo need to sit down and play together sometime.
I taught him how to play poker too. He likes playing poker. Anything with numbers, he loves it.
Yeah, I've not played a lot of poker in my life. Honestly, I played a ton of spades.
Oh yeah,
played some dominoes a couple of times.
Oh, yeah, dominoes is fun.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean spades, man. That's how I always. Cause I never had any money when I went in there.
I made commissary.
Yeah. I would go in there and lie my ass off. I got 2 honey buns. Like, you better hope you win. I'd have to sit there and watch the table for a minute and see who was good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to find that partner too that you can just like you can read each other and just dominate.
God, some of them games would get intense, man. Then everybody stands up and you really just slap them cards down on the table. You can hear it across the.
Oh yeah.
God, throw a little baby powder on
I
there.
saw somebody get their throat slit over a fucking game of spades,
I mean,
and they
it'd
were
be
on
like
the
that
same gang.
sometimes.
2 Crips.
Oh yeah.
And he just didn't like how he played, or so like I didn't pay attention. I was like, I ain't see nothing, but like it wasn't horrible. Like dude lived, but he cut him a little bit, and I was like,
I mean, sometimes games get intense, man. The passions.
they must have had a lot of money on that or something.
Something, man, dude. So what else do you think? Just as far as being a man and just day-to-day life, man, what struggles?
Oh, dude, there's all kinds of struggles. Like I'm in my head all the time about just from the stuff in my past with like relationships and everything, which I struggle with and which I'm trying to not bring into my new relationship now is a big thing is trust issues.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and especially just being in the dope game and like being in there, like I don't trust nobody, and it's hard to trust people. Even like best friends that I've had my whole life. I was telling you about, dude, first grade, like there's certain times where like hold them at a distance because it's like you don't like you have any ulterior motives or like it's just that mind fuck where it's like. And like I'll get in my head every single day just about how my fiance, like she's a tattoo artist, tattooing a bunch of men and all this stuff. And it's like I trust her to death. Like honestly, as you talk to me, like I trust her to death. But am I gonna sit here and lie to you and say like I don't think about like certain things or like anything? Like that'd be a lie. Like there's no way you can get. I've been screwed up so many times with females and like that's the worst thing for a man is a fucking give your heart to somebody and just get it fucking torn out.
Dude, I totally get that. But I don't know, dude. Like with CJ, I love CJ to death. Like she's like a sister to me. I'd do anything for her, dude.
Yeah.
She's just cool. But dude, I think that she's just, from what I can tell, man, she's just at a spot in life, dude, where she just wants a family and just wants to And I think you're in a solid place, dude.
No,
honestly.
like trust me, like there's.
But I get what you're saying though,
I try to not say anything because I know it's just like my head, but like sometimes I will because like you seek that like I get like that reassurance because like as men, like, I don't know, like, it's not probably talked enough about, but like, we need that reassurance. Like, and if I come to you with a problem and like you're defensive and like
I'm done.
like, that's a turn off, and it's like you're hiding something. But like, you come to me and be like, no, like, reassure me. And like, this is like anybody, like, I hate to say, like, as men too, we hate to be like, we have plenty of weak moments.
Dude.
So it's like, I need to be, fuck it, I need to be held, or need to be, just give me a hug. You don't even have to say nothing.
Hell
like, I
yeah.
just need that. And like, she's been very good at that. Like, I have no complaints, no nothing. Like, I've not been able to actually communicate and talk to anybody in my life as much as her,
Same.
which is still not much. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But like, it's just easy. Like, she's my best friend. Like, she's really taken me out of this dark place that I was
Yeah.
in for so long. And
That's
like,
awesome.
I used to be just, like I was saying earlier, like, just numb. Like, I cut off all emotions. Like, I just didn't give a fuck. Like,
Yeah.
there was no joy. There was like, maybe the only emotion I did express would be anger.
Yeah, dude.
And like, so I was just numb. Like, it was to the point, like, even things, doing stuff with my kids that should be fun and like enjoyable, like, I felt no joy with it. And I felt like I just did it because I had to, and because like they wanted to, and because I knew it was the right thing to do.
Been there, man.
I didn't do it because like I enjoyed it. I did it because it's the right thing to do.
Been there, man. You're just kind of going through the motions and stuff, man. And then the guilt also comes because then you feel guilty because you feel like you should be doing more, and then that you don't have that just joy with your kids and stuff in that moment. I get that, but dude, that what you were saying though about being able to communicate, like a man being able to communicate his needs to his wife or spouse or fiance or what, bro. That is game changing, dude. Like hey, gentlemen, Zach Hawkins will call his wife and say, babe, I feel needy today. I feel like I need some reassurance today. And she will. And like, I'll just get extra random texts throughout the day just to say, I love you. I'm thinking about you. You're safe. Gosh,
that makes a difference.
Having a woman that will text you and just say you're safe, man. Like when you just wanted I don't know, you've just needed that your whole life, dude. And it's awesome. So I can't encourage you enough to just keep working on getting to that spot, man. Because that's also, dude, that's how our spouses should know us, like intimately. They like to the point where they know what you're thinking. But if you're not communicating and you're holding stuff back from them, I'm not talking about you.
No, yeah,
we are doing, a disservice to each other.
Which also, it also needs to be like reciprocated. Like, you can't expect them to do that and then you don't do it for them because you can't open up or anything. Like, if they're having a hard day or they're doing everything, like,
yeah.
And I know they'd say like relationships should be like 50-50.
Never.
But it's never is. Sometimes it's 80-20. Like, some days I'm having a bad day, and if a good feeling is like, you could go up to them and be like, hey, I'm just in a bad mood. I'm having a bad day. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the kids. I'm just not having a good day.
Yep. I have to tell mine, like, I'll text her in the morning and be like, I'll be honest, I just kind of woke up in a bad headspace today.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Like, there's no just.
And gentlemen, that's important too. Like, if you're going through a fucked up day or just and it has nothing to do with your spouse, tell them. Just say, I'm in a mood. I'm in a way. I don't know why. I'm trying to fix it. I can't right now. And right now it is what it is. And it allows them to give you grace also in that process because they just know. And so you can't be afraid to talk to your spouse. That should be the most important, most comfortable person that we are around always.
Yeah. And if not, then it's probably not the right one.
Yeah. Like, you have to have that for sure.
Yeah. You have to be able to be comfortable. And that's, which I struggle with. I mean, I ain't perfect. Never will claim to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, I don't communicate well at all, but I'm working on it, and that's a process, and I'm actually trying to.
Yeah. I just realized that not communicating doesn't work.
No, it doesn't help.
It doesn't work, and I become miserable. I become a miserable person in general, and I make other people miserable around me. It's just
because you think you're in your head on day one, you're on day 3 of not communicating on the same shit. You're really thinking about it, and it's starting to fuck with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Gentlemen, start talking more. That's all I can say is we have to start doing that more to each other and to the wife.
Like there's even times like I've told her like, and she's kind of been upset a little bit about it, but like she'll see like some text or something to like my homies, like come on, like really good friends of mine, and I'm like, hey man, I just like need to talk. And she was like, well, what can you talk to them about that you can't talk to me about? And I'm like, well, I talk to you about it a lot, but like there's also a difference, like just with the bro, like with your like homie, like there's a little different. Like sometimes you just need that guy time and like talk and be vulnerable with each other and don't judge each other. And like I know like guys like try to act hard and do this and that, like, oh, you being a bitch and all that. But it's like if you got some real warmth, I mean, sometimes we are being a bitch.
Yeah,
and like,
sometimes I need another dude just to say, you gotta toughen the fuck up.
Yeah, sometimes we can get in like that weak, vulnerable part and like maybe be toxic masculinity, but like to a way that can be a good thing. Like you need that like just elbow and like, dude, toughen up. You got this.
Dude,
like, come on.
It was something Tyler Clifton brought up, and it was something I hadn't really like taken a whole lot of time to think about. But ever since I've heard him say it, I think about it all the time. That like men are these tribal beings, man, and he also said something about like, you can be a lion that surrounds yourself with other lions, like a whole pride of lions. You don't have to be just a lion out here on your own trying to figure, like you just run everything on your own. You can associate with other lions that are still killers and still like, you know what I mean? But like men, we are tribal
stronger
beings,
in a pack.
Man. We are. And especially, you get a tough pack together that can all hang strong, dude. It's unstoppable, man.
Yeah, you can't go through life alone.
And
There's
not
no
just
way.
that, but like as far as other men and stuff go, I learned a prime, beautiful example of that this weekend. I went on this trip, and it was with a couple of guys that are really successful and stuff, and just being around them just makes me want more. Makes me want to not just. It's not like I just want a bunch of wealth and stuff. I mean, obviously that would be cool, but it just makes you want to be better. It makes you want to push. And
you are who you surround yourself with.
For real,
and like
dude.
I've been trying to do better at that. I have to cut off a few friends because like they still like. One of my best friends struggles with addiction, like very bad. And I've helped him for years and years and years. So like, and like the stuff he said was like, he's got a very toxic relationship with his baby mama. And like, they're not good for each other at like, you think of the worst relationship you probably heard of, like it's probably them or worse. Like it's bad. And like, I've been there, let him live with me, pay for shit, buy groceries, like help him out. And then like, I kind of called him out on his shit, like just being real.
Yeah.
And he didn't like it and got defensive and was trying to tell me, like, I ain't been there for him. Like, I'm not a good friend and all this. So I was like, at that point, I was like, all right, well, good luck.
See you.
Don't call me in a week when shit hits south. Like,
Yep.
I've done what I can. Like, I'm not going to keep going backwards. Like, I can't. I'm trying to go forward.
Yeah.
And like I struggle with that a lot, just with careers and stuff. Like I still haven't figured out really what I want. But being a felon, like it's hard too to fucking.
Yeah, I'll be honest, dude. I've not ever had a problem with. I mean, I've got 5 of them. I think my biggest one's a B, and like, but it's never because I've always just went straight into construction.
Yeah, well,
like,
they don't give a fuck.
They don't. Like, I've only ever had one of the construction jobs ever kind of give me a little bit of grief, and it wasn't even that big a deal. And but yeah, I understood that I would never go working in an office or something like that.
No, I could never.
You know,
like,
I couldn't do that anyway. Really,
even with the personal training, like it was something I love. What fitness is something I love, like personally. So I was like, maybe this will be good. I took the classes, got certified, and like I hate it. Like I just like now it's like it's actually like messing up my own outlook and fitness goals and stuff because it's like so frustrating. Like these people just
why don't you branch off and do it on your own and be more selective with people that really want it?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that, trying to, and like, and that also goes back to that motivation, that drive, and that push to fucking do that. And it's like my excuses are like life's busy, this and that. Like I got 4 kids, like. You know, the excuses from it. And like, I know it's just excuses. I know it's my own. I'm getting in my own way, and it's just trying to break that.
Yeah, I do the same thing, man. I struggle with motivation sometimes. I'm either running like max full speed or
Not doing
I'm
shit.
struggling.
Yeah.
And I go through phases for sure, dude. And I think maybe it just becomes like for my ADHD and where I'm just constantly just bouncing from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing all day long. Because literally it'd be like working out, fragrance, podcasting, photography, video, like. And then the course of the day, I will do it all.
Spread thin.
And then, I do it for a while, and then eventually I'm just like burnt, and I just like need some recoup time, but then I lose my motivation at the same time, and then regaining that motivation. Once you stop doing anything, picking up the momentum is the hardest part about it. Re-picking up that momentum, dude.
Yeah.
Once you start doing it, if we can just force ourselves into it, the momentum will pick up. But it's just
The consistency, the stick
is.
at it. That's what like.
because it's about to be a bunch of work and it's going to be a bunch of hustle and like I'm at a spot in life where it's like, I'm about to be 36 and like I'll be 36 on like Friday. Gosh.
One of these days.
Yeah, one of these days it's actually Friday. I didn't even realize that until just now.
Yeah, I'll be 33 in March.
But I'm at this spot where it's like I understand the value of the family and being with the family and spending time with the family and pursuing a bunch of other stuff, man. I just realized it takes away from that. And it's such a short-lived thing. I mean, I'm within 12 years of every kid being out of the house. I know that sounds like a long time, but
It's not.
it's not.
So you really got to take what's important, like, and that's with like, I've been blessed here, like, cause like my job is flexible and everything. So like, me and her, we get to spend with her job too. It's like we get to spend a lot of time with the kids. Like we're not working till 5, 6 at night. Like there's evenings that I go back for a couple hours, do some clients, but like I'm there when they get off the bus. Like I'm there in the mornings. I'm there like. And I know that matters, but it messes with me a lot as like a man to like provide.
Yeah.
It's like, what she makes. Like, there ain't no way in hell I'm going to make what she makes. Like,
get
especially
that,
being a felon. Like, come on. And that messes with me a lot. And like, she helped me out a lot at the beginning of our relationship to become a personal trainer. Because she was like, I want you to do something like I do and want you to do something you love. And like at the time, I thought this was what I wanted. And now I feel like, fuck, I just wasted her and my time, like, doing this. And, like, when I first started, like, you got to build a client base. And, like, I wasn't making shit.
Yeah.
And she was holding, like, I quit electrical work.
Yeah.
And wasn't making shit. So, like, just with everything, like, I felt like a horrible person. Like, she's the one paying everything. Like, I got to figure something out.
I get that.
And that messed with us a lot. Had a few conversations about that, which also, like, she's down to earth, don't care. Like, I just want you to be happy, this and that. But, like, I'm not happy unless I know I'm pulling my weight and doing, like, I'm making it worth it. Like, I'm not going to. I don't want to fuck around and just not do shit. Like I'm not gonna be a bum, first of all. Like I'm not.
I get that, dude. So what was the deal with the electrical? You just wasn't your thing?
No, and I also don't do heights.
Dude, I get that. And the older I get, the less I do them.
Which it wasn't too bad. Like I did a lot, like with this one company, we wired a bunch of cabins in Sevierville and everything, and like that was fine. And then I went to White Brothers Electric and worked with them for a little bit. And, like, it's just wasn't my thing. I just, like, it's my dad's thing, my brother's thing. And, like, I've always sworn since I was a kid, like, I ain't going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
And I fell back on it because I needed something. But, like...
Yeah, that's what my dad did, and I guess it was just the logical thing for me. I never even lied to myself about going to college or anything like that.
I tried.
And my dad he always taught me growing up, don't go to school, learn a trade, and he was he's in the local union. He still is, and I'm in the local union, and it's always taken care. Like, it always provided. They always provided. I guess I saw that, and it was the most logical thing for me. Plus, I grew up, wiring some houses and stuff with him, doing side work.
That's what I did as a kid.
I already had a good idea, By the time I was 18, I could wire a house,
Yeah, the rough end ain't much. Like, it's not hard. It's just I felt like I wanted better, do something different. Like I wanted to be. I didn't want to follow the generational thing. You know, I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
And now I'm struggling with still trying to find what that is. Like, I'm smart with like business and like I'm really good with numbers and money. And I just need to figure out like what my calling is. And I'm 32. I still have plenty of time, but like, I struggle with it. Like I feel like I should be farther than where I am.
I don't know, there's not a time frame though, man. Some of the most successful people ever didn't really even do shit until they were in their 40s. So that's a fun fact. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I bought my first house within the first year of being sober.
Yeah.
Worked at Denso for a while. That provided and like, So I mean, whatever. But it's still just I try to look at like the small rewards.
Yeah.
The small goals that lead to the end goal. Like you kind of, you have to have those achievements or you'll go crazy.
Oh,
it's the same with working out. You can't just be like one long-term goal focus on or you're going to go crazy.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I have to do the bulks and the cuts, man. It keeps my mind flipping and flopping back and forth between like to achieve that ultimate long-term goal, you know, to get bigger and leaner as time goes on. That's always the goal, right?
Always.
And so, but anyway, dude, this has been awesome. I've enjoyed this so much, dude. I can totally see us doing it again, but I think next time we should straight up do it at the shop. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm mobile. We'll just come up and do it at the shop one day.
Yeah. Tell you a little more about the whole crap with my dad and everything.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely dive into that for sure. Because I could do a whole podcast on that, dude. Man, we have so much in common, and I didn't have a clue. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why it's so important for us to all be having these conversations, man. And that's one cool thing about the Facebook group, man. You see guys in there starting to talk and stuff, and then them starting to talk to each other, and that's just a cool thing. Because I don't want to be like the centerpiece of that group, man. Like I don't want people to think of that group and think of me. I want it just to be a place where dudes can go in there and ultimately find each other, man. Find other people that are dealing with the same type of things they are, and they can reach out and connect and like build off of that, you know.
Yeah,
and that's always the hope.
Life's not easy, man. Parenting's not easy, and nothing's easy. And
No.
you can't do it alone, like I've said. We need each other.
Addictions, man. There's so many of us out there that's got addictions that we're not talking about or afraid to talk about and stuff like that. But if you are struggling with stuff, it's okay. It's all right. It's human nature. It's what we all do, and we can figure it out. But we got to talk about it to be able to do that. And so, but yeah, dude, Cash, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
dude.
thanks
and
for having me.
We will definitely do this again. We will have that deep dive into some parental conversation because that could get real good.
Oh, yeah.
Real good.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, dude. Gentlemen, I love you so much, man. I'm just grateful that you all even humor to take the time to listen to me. And I just appreciate you all. And everybody that's been encouraging me and stuff, it means the world to me. I really appreciate it. And so, gentlemen, I love you. Tell your people that you love them. If you don't have people, find them and then tell them that you love them. This is Zach. I'm Man to Mike, and we are out.